Hey, what's up YouTube? Saf here on Super Saf TV. So a couple of weeks ago I did a video for what to expect from the Samsung Galaxy S5, and following on from that there was lots of requests for a similar video for the iPhone 6. Now although it is pretty early for the iPhone 6, there's still lots of rumours about out there, so I thought once again I'll compact those into a short video to give you guys a better idea of what to expect from the iPhone 6. So without any further ado, do hit that thumbs up button and let's get straight to it. Now starting off with the screen size, there's lots of rumours going about that we are going to be seeing a larger screen iPhone. Looking at roughly about 4.7 inches, and although Apple have usually stuck to a smaller size screen for better usage with one hand, there's lots of competition coming from Android. And right now, if you're an iPhone user who wants a larger screen smartphone, you have no choice but to go over onto Android or Windows Phone or something like that, because there are no options of larger screen smartphones on the iPhone side. So it actually makes a lot of sense for Apple to go for a larger screen size. Now Apple have been critical for larger screen smartphones, but then again they were also critical for smaller size tablets. And now we've got the iPad mini, which is in some cases more popular than the full-size iPad. There's also rumours of a larger phablet size iPhone, so looking at 5.5 inches. Now this would compete with the likes of the Note 3. This is looking less likely, but it's also a possibility. There is a big market out there for phablet-sized smartphones, and Apple will definitely benefit tapping into this market. Now in terms of the material of the screen, there's lots of rumours going about that Apple are going to be using sapphire crystal for the material of the screen of the iPhone 6. Now if this is the case, then you're going to have a very tough screen, and it's also going to be scratch resistant, so that would be great to see. Now in terms of the resolution of the screen, if you've got a larger size screen, you're going to need more pixels to maintain that Retina display. So the first rumour is of a 720p screen, so that will be 1280 by 720. But on a 4.7 inch screen, that will be roughly about 312 ppi, which would be less than the iPhone 5S, which has 326 ppi. So this is possibly looking unlikely because it would be a step back in terms of the pixel density. So another possibility is a 1080p display, so that's 1920 by 1080. And on a 4.7 inch screen, that would give you roughly about 469 ppi. Now that's quite a lot of pixels, and Apple have said that anything above their Retina display is overkill and it'll be draining battery and not bringing that much benefit. So that's also looking a little bit unlikely. I think what's more possible is a 1600 by 900 display, and that will give a PPI of roughly about 386, so it's not too high and not too low. And generally speaking, Apple like to be a little bit unconventional, so they wouldn't go for the standard 720 or 1080. I'm not sure exactly why this is, maybe to lock it down a little bit more, but I would definitely put my money on somewhere around 1600 by 900 pixels. Now moving on to the build and design, it goes without saying that we're going to be getting an aluminum body, which Apple have incorporated for their previous iPhone models, and that definitely gives it a premium feel. We're also looking at little or no bezel at all. There's lots of rumours around that, and that will mean you can have the large screen size without increasing the size of the smartphone too much. And we've had lots of concepts and leaks. The most convincing came last week, which was said to be a fake, but it looked more like the current generation of the iPod Touches, and also a little bit like an iPad mini shrunk down. The back was curved rather than the flat look that we're currently seeing on the iPhone models. So it is possible that we'll be seeing something like this. We're likely to see the same colours, so the silver, the space grey, and the gold. The gold has been very popular for Apple, so this is very likely to continue over on to the iPhone 6. Now the internals, it goes without saying that these are going to be upgraded and being more faster. We're going to definitely see a 64-bit processor once again. From the A7 we're likely to go into the A8 processor, and traditionally we see a dual-core processor on the iPhone, but we're likely to see a quad-core possibly as well. They may still stick to dual-core, but we may see a quad-core processor on there. In terms of RAM, we're looking at 2 GB of RAM. Traditionally we've had 1 GB, so really pushing on the multitasking side, 2 GB of RAM would definitely be beneficial. The different storage versions available, we're going to be looking at the standard 16, 32 and 64 GB variants, but we may also see 128 GB. There was lots of hope for an iPhone 5S with 128 GB, but we're very likely to see this on the iPhone 6. No expandable storage, that goes without saying as well. Now the camera, this is quite interesting. They may still be sticking to an 8 megapixel camera, but we're likely to see a 10 megapixel camera. Most of the rumours are pointing towards a 10 megapixel rear facing camera, possibly up to a 13 megapixel, 12 or 13 megapixels as well, and with a new filter. So they're going to be applying a new filter to give you some better and more clear pictures. f1.8 aperture compared to the f2.2 aperture on the iPhone 5. So once again, low light performance should be improved as well. The dual LED flash is definitely going to be continued over because it has been very successful. Maybe some tweaks and some improvements on that side of things as well. Optical image stabilization also seems very likely. We've seen this a lot on the competition, so having this on the iPhone 6 would definitely be very likely. And in terms of the video now, one of the things that I loved about the iPhone 5S is 720p at 120 frames a second. Slow motion, which was absolutely great. The only problem with it was that it's 120 frames a second at 720p, not 1080p. So 1080p slow motion might be a possibility, as well as 720p at possibly a higher frame rate as well. And 4K we might also see, because a lot of the competition from Samsung's side are allowing 4K recording on the smartphones, so this is also a possibility but not definite. Now the front facing camera, Apple have stuck to 1.2 megapixels at 720p for quite some time now, so we are most definitely going to see 1080p from the front facing camera. And there's also rumours that Sony will be developing a new module for the front facing camera which is going to give you better selfies, and seeing how popular selfies are these days, this seems like a definite possibility that Apple will be looking to improve the front facing camera. 2.1 megapixels is what we'll most likely be looking at. Now the operating system, we're looking at iOS 8, so an upgrade to iOS 7. There's not much right now about what that's going to include and what new features that's going to include, but you can definitely expect to see a similar flat sort of look which they've incorporated with iOS 7. Now if the body is larger of the iPhone 6 compared to the iPhone 5S, there's also going to be more space for a larger battery. So you can expect somewhere around a 2000 to 2300 milliamp battery, which should definitely give you some more usage out of your iPhone 6. Non-removable as with all the other iPhone models. Now some of the additional features, we're definitely going to see a continuation of Touch ID, the fingerprint scanner. I really like this on the iPhone 5S. It's been implemented the best from any of the smartphones out there, and we're definitely going to see this carried over onto the iPhone 6, maybe with some little tweaks and advancements. Wireless charging is also another possibility, so that again would be very useful to charge a device wirelessly. A lot of competition from Android do have this, and there's also lots of other rumors going about, such as a flexible and curved screen, but that's definitely not going to happen, at least this time around. You're going to have to wait a little bit longer until those technologies are a little bit more mainstream. Now in terms of pricing, Apple are expected to keep the same pricing structure that they have with their previous devices, with a slight increase. Usually we see a slight increase year on year, roughly about £20 or $30 per handset. So a little bit of an increase is expected there. In terms of contract prices, we're expecting the standard flagship contract prices to apply. Now finally, the release date, I would expect somewhere around September, which would give it a year after the iPhone 5S. There are some rumours and reports of possibly a June release, which would be pretty early. Personally speaking, because the iPhone 5S is still very popular, if Apple were to release the iPhone 6 early, that would actually be a little bit negative from their side, I would think. So I would definitely expect them to stick to the contract cycle and release something roughly about September time. So there we have it, the rumour roundup on what to expect from the iPhone 6. What do you think of the iPhone 6? Are you looking forward to it? What are you looking forward to most of the iPhone 6? Do drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. As I did mention, this is quite an early rumour roundup of the iPhone 6, so some things may change. So what I might do is have an updated video later on down the line when we have some more reports. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, as always, please do hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out. And why not subscribe to the channel? I've got plenty more content coming up on here. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on Super Saf TV, and I'll see you next time. If you want to see more regular videos like this one, then be sure to hit the subscribe button, which will be below. If you're on a mobile device, it may be somewhere else. If you want to see my previous related video, then hit the link right here. If you want to stay in touch over Facebook, Twitter and Google+, then all of the addresses will be there somewhere, as well as direct links in the description below. Okay, if you're still watching, then that means you've not done one of those things, so no. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna go downstairs. See. Okay. There isn't really a downstairs. Anyway, so yeah.